Brian Bethel is a journalist in Abilene, Texas. For nearly 20 years, he's covered city politics, community issues, and major events. Brian is trained to follow the facts and get to the truth of the story.
Brian is a reporter in that old school style. Brian's not going to be the first guy to go. Somebody says that they've seen something weird, obviously it must be true. He has about the right dose of objectivity.
I have no good explanation for what happened to me at all. And it's one of the most frightening things that ever happened in my life.
In the spring of 1996, Brian was busy covering city council meetings and rushing to file his stories by deadline. Then one evening, he remembered an unpaid bill, one he had to take care of across town that very day.
The parking lot seemed very isolated. There was an eerie sense about it, but it was odd that there was no other movement, no other people, couldn't see anyone in the movie theater. I did feel kind of a sense of being alone there. I felt a little bit of safety because I was in the light of the marquee, but there was sort of a little strange feeling about the atmosphere. Nothing that you could put your finger on. I just want to get this errand done and go home. I don't really want to be here.
Brian had his head down, writing out a check.
There's this very sharp rap at the door, and it startled me. I look over, and there's two young men standing outside. They might be somewhere between 9 to 14, both of them wearing pullover hoodies. I rolled down the window very slightly and said, "Can I help you?" That's when things began to get just really weird.
Hey, mister.
The older of the pair did all the talking. He says, "Hey, mister, we left our money at home and we want to see the movie. Can you drive us to our mother's house?" He had this very smooth aura about him, almost a too smooth diction.
Come on, it won't take long.
That you would not expect from a child. Almost immediately, there was this primal, terrible fear that began to grip me. There's something wrong about them. And it's not just the smoothness of the spokesman. Some part of my primal brain is saying, "Run, you fool."
In the spring of 1996, in a deserted parking lot on the outskirts of the Badlands, newspaper reporter Brian Bethel was writing a check. Out of nowhere, two children approached, asking him for a ride. For Brian, the decision would turn into a matter of life or death.
I wanted away from them. I was scared to death. I was almost literally trembling, trying to keep myself together in the face of just a couple of little kids. I think he began to understand that I was afraid of them at some level because he started to be reassuring.
Come on, mister. We don't have a gun.
That unnerved me. There was this subtle note there that said that we don't need a gun, mister. All this time, this mounting sense of danger that I am about to die.
Brian suddenly notices his hand is reaching towards the handle to unlock the door.
My hand had sort of strayed toward the car door on its own, a little too close to the latch. I'm like, I don't remember doing that. You're not letting them in. Move your hand away. Was it mesmerism or some sort of hypnotism? I I can't objectively say that. And then the spokesman started to get angry.
Esther, we need in your car.
He said, "We can't come in unless you tell us it's okay."
Tell us it's okay.
I look over at them. It hits. I see their eyes, and they are cold, black, soulless orbs. No iris, no sclera, just one black void. They were like shards of night, and I am more frightened than I have ever been in my entire life. And at that point, every single thing in me says, get the hell away now.
Breaking from his trance, Brian took off.
I ripped out of the parking lot as quickly as I possibly could, only taking a moment to look in my rearview mirror and see that there was no one standing where the children were. They were gone. It was like that they almost just vanished. I don't even remember the drive home. All I know is that I got there absolutely terrified. I was chilled to the soul.
Still shaken by the encounter, Brian calls his best friend Chad Beavers, a psychologist in nearby Amarillo.
I have never heard Brian being scared at all, ever. Certainly not like this. It freaked me out almost as much as I think he was freaked out.
Brian still has no idea what it was that he encountered.
People have various theories, everything from vampires to ghosts to aliens.
I think black-eyed kids are terrifying because they're extremely predatory and they are sort of relentless. And this is the other part that's scary. You have to know that you can't let them in or accept their help because that's how you've given away your power and now they have a way to access you.
I believe that I was being hunted in some manner. They use camouflage or subterfuge to draw in prey because we are hardwired to look at children and say, these are innocent creatures.
The black-eyed kids, very modern manifestation of a very ancient phenomenon of fairies and fairy abductions. What we're looking at is possibly a new twist on a very, very ancient thing that humans have been encountering for thousands of years.
Brian wrote about his experience, the first report of its kind, and as the incident spread from the Badlands, dozens of people contacted Brian about their own black-eyed kid encounters.
I'm driving home and there are two children walking up the hill. So I pull over and I say, you guys all right? Do you want me to call your mom? One of them said to me, let me in the car. I said, no, I'll call your mom. The other one said, let us in the car. I had this feeling of doom and dread. And they both looked at me and they were as pale could be with black eyes. I became very, very panicked. I started saying the St. Michael prayer. St. Michael the Archangel, your protection against the snares of the devil.
There are no confirmed cases of death at the hands of black-eyed kids. But it's the stories Brian has never heard that worry him.
I wonder about the people who just saw a couple of kids and said, sure, you can come in, I'll give you a ride. And then what happens to them?
Can I help you?
If a black-eyed kid knocks on your door, don't let him in, because it may be the last thing that you do.